it's got a couple things. One, turn this guy back. So I have a vending machine out of the barn that has this fluorescent light in it, and replacement bulb is about $5. But I bought one, I swear it was last fall, this one, and it already burned out. So I'm thinking I would replace it with LEDs. So this plugs into a 120 volt socket. I've got AC, and I found a simple little circuit on the web for driving a couple of LEDs, and you have to size this big resistor here to take the bulk of the voltage drop, and then you have a couple of volts running through the LEDs. These are 3.3 volt LEDs or something. And then the diode here is to prevent the backflow when the voltage is negative on the AC. So you get...
it only runs on half phase.
It runs on half phase. It links 60 hertz instead of 120 hertz or something.
Probably 30 hertz instead of 60.
Nope.
It's 60 instead of 120.
There's 120 half cycles per second.
So half
So is this a reasonable thing to try to do and stick in a vending machine, or?
If you want to have fun with it, as opposed to buying something off the shelf for $10.
Well, so I mean, you're dropping to what, 110 volts?
Yeah.
A lot of power. I would assume you need more than a half watt.
So this one was for 30 milliamp LEDs. LEDs I looked at,
Oh.
the bright white ones were like 750 milliamps, right? And so, I'm going to need a 1 watt or something if I want to use those big bright ones.
You can get really bright night lights from Amazon, 2 for $10. They use 4 white LEDs in a string, and they're T1 white LEDs. And they use almost that circuit, but they also use a pretty good size, probably X2 rated capacitor.
So I have seen the other ones which have a capacitor. I also have this one. This is I got this for Christmas. It's got 3 AAA batteries in it, and I think that's bright enough. These aren't the 3 watt white LEDs that SparkFun sells, but they're certainly bright enough. So it might.
The night lights from Amazon are within an order of magnitude that bright.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they've got quite the same eye squinting, but they're ridiculously bright. But make sure they've got them in warm white and cool white. Be sure to get the cool white. I like the warm white better, but they use an opaque shield over them as opposed to a transparent shield.
Awesome.
How much extra you put on LEDs?
30 milliamps.
If I'm calculating wrong, maybe 0.9 watts, the resistor. I squared R. 30 times 30 is 900.
No, they're in series. So you got 3 watts.
So I said, you
30
30
milliamps
milliamps total. What's going through the resistor? 30 milliamps or?
I would assume so. I mean, if
So
it's
I
going
squared
30
R.
milliamps through here, it's 30 milliamps everywhere in the circuit.
Everywhere.
Right.
So you take 30 milliamps times 30 milliamps times 100K.
No, there's only 130 milliamps. It's
Yeah.
130
I squared
milliamps.
R. I'm calculating wattage, which is I squared R.
Okay, all right.
Which is B times I, and B is I times R. So I squared R is your wattage.
Okay.
So 30 milliamps times 30 milliamps divided by 100K is 0.9 watts.
That will smoke, that the resistor
Do
will.
don't, I want to make sure, I'm thinking if I get this.
What's your voltage drop on those LEDs?
3 point something.
Per?
3
Per.
point something.
Same as the
Well, here, they're 3.3 volt LEDs.
And what do you get? 0.7 on the diode?
he's just dropping all but a
I mean,
smidge.
100 volts drops across here,
Very low.
Power
and 10 volts drops across here.
That's how they do it.
So the resistor's gotta take up all the rest.
So
Yeah, and-
basically, they rectify.
Well, it only has to
They
take
use
up
the resistor as their, I'm sorry, the
That's the
capacitor.
diode prevents it
The
from.
one is just a surge to limit the current surge in the capacitor. But
No, I mean,
interestingly enough, the
if
photosensor, when
if
it
it's
turns the
dropping
LEDs off,
almost,
it shunts all of
like
that.
say
So it never turns it
105.
off.
Doesn't power it up, it just
It
turns
just
off.
disables it. Oh, I'm sorry, they've got a stack of 5, so they
I mean,
end
if
up
that thing's
with
running at almost a
17
watt,
volts
that's
across
way
the
too high.
chain. So that means that they're dropping the voltage not from 120, but
And
they're
the
dropping.
hazard is that when you overheat those resistors, they
I feel
keep
like,
value.
that's what I was suggesting, is I feel like they want the cheapest possible.
You're only going.
The other thing is I suspect that you get less filter because you're doing full
So
rectification.
they're averaging 1.4 watt, average.
Yeah, but still,
But you're getting close.
it's a very bad idea to run a vanilla resistor at its full power dissipation.
Actually, okay, at a watt, even though 0.9 close to a watt, you're only running half, less than half duty cycle, you're only running it every other cycle, getting those one up, always on. So if you did a 1 watt, you got about 2.5x of extra wattage, which should be enough to help you out on that.
But, okay, just quick rule of thumb, if you run one of those resistors, a vanilla metal film resistor or similar at its full power dissipation, it's gonna run at about 125 degrees centigrade, and it will change value.
As it warms up.
While it
In
dies.
fact, it can permanently, yeah, well, my worry would be, could it get into a runaway situation where it's changing value, does it go up or not, or down?
And the website I found this on, the guy said that this did not get warm to the touch.
That's amazing.
So.
Well, you also have to remember you're running at half wave, so you're not
That's
getting
what,
RMS.
you already covered that.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Right, and- but-
Half wave and it's a sine, so it's not at
It's not
100 volts the whole time, right? It's-
It's 0.7 times half of.
So it's 0.7.
0.707.
1.35 times.
Right. Well, if
Right, the other thing I wanted to show has nothing to do with electronics. This is a 3D printed thing that every year I do for my nieces. I give them some money in a puzzle of some sort. And so this is a, let's see if I can figure out. A maze. And then the money's on the inside.
Cool.
It wasn't my idea, but it was, I saw a thing on Thingiverse, it was a box about that big around that had a similar kind of a maze, and I've been looking for the idea for this year's
Christmas.
Christmas puzzle.
Cool. I need that for a judo action, hide the oxygen inside of it.
Oh, absolutely.
There you go. Okay. So I can let you guys look at this. The 3D printer I have has dual nozzle, dual extruder, and the white stuff here is the support filament to support these
Is it the,
overhangs as it prints. I'm sorry?
is it like the dissolvable stuff?
It is a dissolvable, it's polystyrene, so it's like styrofoam. The suggested solvent is limonene, which is from oil of citrus peels and smells, and it's used in air fresheners, so it's very non-toxic. It's also very slow to dissolve, but it's better than the hot lye vat that they use
You
in
don't want
tech
to use
shops
acetone, huh?
for removing their dissolvable fluid. So if you want to look at that, I'll have that up front.
How do you like the printer?
I have liked it. The one I chose one that I wouldn't have to spend all my time working on the printer, right? I didn't want to build my own, although I'm a maker. I wanted to print things.
You just wanted to print things?
Yeah, and so I bought one that hopefully would have minimal amount of tweaking and
Maintenance.
I didn't want to mess with all the software tools. And I wanted to be able to do that a little bit if I needed to. So I've enjoyed it. I've had some problems with adhesion of the parts to the plate. When it pops off and starts moving around with the nozzle, that doesn't end up with, doesn't give you good results. You end up with blobs and bird's nests. And I've had some
So
real-
I've been playing with the Wake Robotics Society folks with their 3D printer,
Okay,
and they use, on top of their heated bed, they use a piece of glass, and they shoot it with a light coat of hairspray.
I've been using hairspray and I've been having very good results. Supposedly Garnier
Acoustics.
Fructis hairspray is the best.
Very cool.
So that has helped a lot.
One thing that they've discovered is that you have to be careful. They have a piece of paper that they designate the official shaft protective device. So they put a piece of paper in there, hold it up, and then spray, because otherwise, over time, as you're spraying that hairspray on, it's going to start depositing on your shafts
And everything.
and everything. And
I've been using a cardboard mask kind of thing
okay.
to limit the overspray.
I like your glue stick idea.
At the unfortunate Out of the Funk Maker Fair last year, I saw a whole bunch of people doing that. So I did not have a glass built by myself, so I haven't really had a chance to try.
One night I let it sit on the bed overnight and get really cool. And I almost could not snap this off the bed. It was
It's the problem
stuck
I
on
was
so
either it doesn't stick enough, or
But you
it's
can't
fish
get
to
it
get
off.
off.
yeah. I mean, this thing has a huge amount of leverage, right?
One thing we actually bought
If it had
recently-
been a flat little thing, there's no way I could have gotten it off.
one thing I
I
bought
had to
recently
scrape it
that
off.
helps is the Ninja Flex build plates. They're a little
I've
bit
heard of
weird to
those.
dial in, but it's basically like rubber sandwiched between two sheets of fiberglass. So you
Is
can
it
pull it
suitable
off.
for a heated bed or not?
No,
Okay, so it's for PLA.
yeah, I just have a replicator too, the non-dual extruder one.
Yeah.
And that you pull it off and then just bend the whole build plate, and then generally everything pops off. Except for the first time I tried to use it, I printed a really thin walled Bigelow black case, and that just bent with it. So it was back to the pliers, pulling the whole thing off and just running it. But
Sometimes throwing the whole build plate in the freezer.
that too, yes. I had to do that with that door.
Here's another thing I 3D printed is there's always a little 3/4 of an inch of lotion in the bottom of the bottle. And so I
Do that right now.
printed a cap, dual Siamese cap or something, so that
Is that the same thread as a motor oil jug?
I don't know, it might be. I think they're a standard set of threads. And when you do this without this,
Motor oil.
the lotion drops and changes center of gravity and tips over and ends up on the table or something.
So I think you ought to calculate the ROI of that little place. How much money that's going to save you over your lifetime now.
These are pretty expensive parts.
I missed getting to see your Polulu bounty from the sale at the robotics. What was your favorite?
I brought a little bit of that tonight. So here's a wheel, 120 millimeter wheel with a gear motor. This one is a 34-to-1 gear motor and has a encoder built onto it. It's a magnet and a Hall effect thing, and so you can keep track of how far you've spun the wheel. Whether you've moved that far or not depends on whether the wheel is in heavy contact with the ground or spinning.
What's the Hall effect? Is it an analog output or is it an actual digital pulse on that?
I haven't plugged it in. It's supposed to be quadrature encoded digital, but it looks like just a magnet and little thing sticking up that probably has a Hall effect. So there must be some other logic in there that is converting that into a signal of some sort.
It may just be Hall switches and a multi-pole magnet.
Okay.
How many pulses per revolution? That'll probably tell you.
It's more than one, but I'd have to go look up the,
The low pulse count one's less than 30.
Well, actually- so it's on the motor shaft, right? Not on the geared down. So you're gonna get a 34-to-1
Oh, yeah.
multiplication of however many counts it is to how many turns of the wheel.
So maybe you don't.
So
need a lot
they
of
make,
counts.
they sell 3 different size gear motors. This is the medium one. The larger one is about an inch and a quarter in diameter. And the small ones are on this guy. So they're real teeny. So I'm not really a robotics person, but I've bought a few things and have plans at some point to make some robots, but that's about as far as I've got. This was cut this Saturday after Tech Shop closed. It was like one of the last things cut on the machine before they shipped it off to wherever they shipped it off.
Did anybody talk about February's Burlington